Piers is a boardwalk park located in New Jersey, and it spans across 3 piers that each include a wide variety of roller coasters, flat rides, and even some water slides. So in this video, I will be answering the question, is Morey's Piers worth visiting? So let's get started. So let's look at the roller coasters at Morey's Piers. So on the Surfside Pier, you have the Great Nor'easter, which is the park's Vekoma SLC. And even though I never got to ride this due to it being closed the day I visited Morey's Piers, I've heard nothing but good things about this ride, and it actually looks to be a very good Vekoma SLC. And then also on Surfside Pier, you have Doo-Wopper, which is the park's Wild Mouse. Then you have Runaway Tram, which is the park's kiddie coaster. Moving on to Adventure Pier, this pier is only home to the park's wooden coaster known as Great White, but this ride is actually pretty good as it provides some decent lab rolls and airtime throughout a long ride. And one other thing to note with Adventure Pier is this pier is mainly home to the park's upcharge attractions, which will be discussed later on in the video. And then moving on to the third and final pier, you have Mariner's Pier. This pier is home to Rolly's Coaster, which is one of the park's older coasters, and this is a Pinfari's icon, and it's actually a surprisingly decent ride. And then you also have Sea Serpent, which is the park's Vekoma Boomerang, and this is also a pretty solid Vekoma Boomerang. And then you also have Wild Wizard, which is the park's SBF spinning coaster, and this is the typical oval-shaped layout, and it's nothing special. It's fun, but there's really nothing special about it. So let's move on to Morey Pier's flat ride lineup. So on the Surfside Pier, you have the park's drop tower called AtmosFear, which gives a pretty darn powerful drop. And one thing to note with this ride is it does have onboard audio, and in my opinion, that definitely degraded the experience just because it spoils when the drop's about to happen. And when it comes to most drop towers, but especially drop towers like AtmosFear, the whole point of those rides is that they drop right when you hit the top. So the fact that the drop is spoiled, in my opinion, is a serious downgrade. But nevertheless, the drop is pretty powerful. And then you also have the park's frisbee attraction, It. And what makes this ride unique is it only has lap bars, while most other similar KMG frisbees only have over-shoulder restraints. And honestly, the lap bars definitely make you more free throughout the experience, but in my opinion, comparing them to the over-the-shoulder restraints on other similar frisbees, it didn't really accentuate the airtime too much, but nevertheless, the lap bars definitely do improve this ride compared to other similar KMG frisbees with over-the-shoulder restraints. And then you also have one of 2 dark rides at the park known as Dante's Dungeon. And this is just a standard ghost train kind of ride with very basic jump scares, and it's the standard kind of dark ride you'll find at most carnivals. It's not bad by any means, but just know it's not anything crazy special. And then moving on to Adventure Pier. This is the pier with the majority of the flat rides. First up you have the go-karts, and these are a solid pair of go-karts. It only has 1 track, but nevertheless, it's a solid ride. And then you have the park's Scream and Swing. This one knows Scream and Swings with just 1 arm, and actually one side actually goes over the boardwalk and the beach. And if you're on that side, it's actually pretty darn freaky, not gonna lie. And then moving on to the other 3 flat rides, these are all upcharge attractions. So you have Spring Shot, which is the park's slingshot attraction. And then you have Skyscraper, which is a skyscraper attraction where you basically do several flips in a circle. And these are pretty darn freaky, not gonna lie. And then you also have the park's Sky Coaster, which I'm not sure exactly how tall this one is. I think it's around 125 feet tall, but it allows you to swing over the boardwalk and is overall a pretty fun experience. And then moving on to the park's 3rd pier, you have Mariner's Pier. Now this pier definitely offers some of the least amount of flat rides, but you have the park's 2nd dark ride, which is known as Pirates of the Wildwoods. And this is kind of similar in a way to Dante's Dungeon, as it's not a horror dark ride by any means, but it's definitely a cheaper dark ride. And then you also have the Giant Wheel, which is a massive Ferris wheel over 100 feet tall that gives you great views of the beach and the boardwalk, and is definitely a must-do attraction when you visit Morey's Piers. One other unique aspect of Morey's Piers that you won't find at many other boardwalk parks is the fact that Morey's Piers has two water parks. On the Surfside Pier, you have the Oasis water park, and then on Mariner's Pier, you have the Raging Waters water park. And these water parks are very solid. There's not too much special about these water parks. You have a wide variety of raft slides and body slides to choose from, and they both also have a lazy river and other relaxing attractions. But one thing to note with these water parks that I've noticed is that these water parks tend to get much more crowded than the amusement parks. So that's just one thing to note if you're planning on visiting Morey's Piers water parks. Now let's move on to Morey's Piers pricing structure, because this is complicated. So Morey's Piers, like most boardwalk parks, is completely free to enter, and you do have the option to pay per ride. Despite this, they also offer a season pass, which is known as the Wild Pass, which costs $425 per person, which even for a regular amusement park, that's crazy expensive. So I really do not recommend buying this unless you are a local who just loves visiting this place. But then also you can get access to both water parks for $67 per person. And then an amusement park plus a water park ticket will cost you $120 per person. And then, like I mentioned before, you have the option to pay per ride. And I don't know the individual cost of each ticket, but you can buy ticket packages that range between around $90 all the way up to around $250, which is just crazy in terms of price. But one thing to note when it comes to Morey's Piers pricing is that they do offer several deals throughout the year, and you can find various different ticket options at the gate. Like, for example, when I visited Morey's Piers, I was able to get an all-day pass to all three boardwalks for only $50, which if you can find a deal like that, that's actually a very good value. But personally, I really would only recommend Morey's Piers if you really find one of those deals, because it's just quite pricey. So like, even though the rides are great, it's just a little expensive to fully justify, in my opinion.